Hello, I'm Locke Meredith. I'd like to invite you to the next Legal Lines where my guest is Hillar Moore. He is the East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney. We haven't talked to him in about a year. Glad we get to this time. We're talking about how we were doing prior to the pandemic, how we're doing during the pandemic, particularly that crime has significantly increased. But he's also going to talk about some great stuff that's going on. So join us on the next Legal Lines with Hillar Moore, East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. Open the phone book or look online. There are plenty of lawyers to choose from. And if you ask any of them, they'll agree that the vast majority of claims settle without ever having gone to trial. And I'll tell you, any lawyer can settle a claim. It's not hard to settle a claim, but it takes hard work to get a client what he or she deserves. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates, we have a proven record of working hard for our clients. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Hello, I'm Locke Meredith. This is Legal Lines, and I'm very pleased to have back on the show the District Attorney of East Baton Rouge Parish, Hillar Moore. Hillar, it's great to have you back on.
Good to be here. It's been a while.
Yep, and it's a lot's happened since we got together. I'm sure it was last year, but I know it's created some amazing challenges for you.
Sure has.
And everybody, but whether it's government or private individuals. But I figured it's time to talk about it.
Sure.
So kind of tell me where we were before the pandemic hit, and then kind of where we stand today in the middle of the pandemic with the hope that a vaccine comes and things, at least people can get out more.
Sure.
So how were we pre-pandemic?
You know, we were okay.
Those above the water?
We were okay. City of our size, we have a high homicide rate. Our crime rate is pretty much consistent with other mid-sized cities like ours, but we surely have a higher homicide rate than we need to have for our city's size. So that's always been fairly constant. So office-wise, we were staffed down. We were way below where we should be, need to be. We are trying
Which
to...
has always been the case, isn't it?
Always somewhat been the case, but now we are really behind.
People just walking away because of the world we live in now?
No, it's just that we're not able to keep up with healthcare benefits that continue to rise and not getting additional monies to keep up with that. And you know, getting people to come that want to do the work, it's easy. We can find those people. We have to pay them and keep them so they're not picked away by other major offices that pay them a lot of money. And they'll double our salary very easily. But so you have to really want this job and
it really is a public service.
Want to do a lot of work. And we have a lot of really good people. I want to just shout out to them, and particularly this year. We just had our Thanksgiving dinner today, and these people work very hard in a tough year. All society's problems are dropped at their feet, and they're expected to fix it, and tough job. So
I want to shout out to Bruce Parker too. I know he's been with you
retired
for
last
a very
week.
long time.
25 years, retired last week. So we had a lot of good people just like that. Had another retirement today. So, but you know where we are, we saw the virus over the seas, and didn't really know whether it was going to come here or not. Suspected it would be, and then it really hit New Orleans fairly hard because of the Mardi Gras.
Right. Yeah, it was bad. And
we were looking from January to February, and then March we really got together, said we're going to really have to shut down and go into these different phases. And I recall...
How was that decision made?
Well, that was made by the governor, obviously, with the statewide, but then the city leaders, the mayor... at the mayor's control, the mayor did a great job on this. Did a very good job on this and getting everyone together, law enforcement, the prison, the sheriff, chief of police, the judges, public defender, you name it. We got together and said things are going to be different. I vividly remember in March when we had the meeting at the beginning of March, we predicted that we're going to have the same year that we had in 2017 following the flood. And we knew that domestic violence was going to increase, potentially suicide, murders were going to increase because things were going to be different. And 2017 has been our worst year ever. We had 103 murders that year following the flood when everything was disrupted. People were getting back together. Nobody's out on the street. Their eyes are not there. Their eyes are not at work because people can't go to work. You can't see that bruise on a woman's face. We predicted the same thing this year. Unfortunately, it's going to be true.
And it's even a longer period of time.
It's a much longer period of time. There's no sighted ending right now until possibly the summer of next year. So unfortunately to report at this point, and having 3 murders today, we're around 100 murders for our parish, whereas in 2017, years end, we had 103. We still have another month and a half to go.
And normally the years before that was around 70, 80.
80, around the 80s. Still, for our number, it's too big.
Right, I understand.
We have
I'm
to
not
stop it.
minimizing that.
But we predicted domestic violence would increase. It has increased
I
significantly.
read 700%.
So that number that you read is accurate, but it's with regard to homicide. But surely domestic violence has increased.
Right.
And not only has the numbers increased, the level of violence that we see is outrageous right now. But to add to that, we now have 19 domestic violence and or intimate partner murders thus far for this year compared to 2 last year. In the year of 2017, again, the bad year, we had 14, and 5 of those 14 were murder-suicides. So that's an awful number to have in terms of the homicides alone, but then you add the domestic violence numbers to that.
The victim is usually
Female.
90% of a woman.
Generally
right?
female, correct. And so,
And if it's that much of an increase in the killing of a human being, what you were saying earlier, all the other stuff that happens just short of that
correct,
is astronomical.
sure. And can they report? They're at home with the abuser. So your home is supposed to be the place, yeah, the home is supposed to be the place you're most safe.
And
but
now they're supposed to stay home.
it's anything but that. And so that's where our problems are. And that woman who is being abused generally has an outside source of she can get to work, and now she can't go to work because she's
Right.
remotely working. No one can see the bruises on her face, and third parties don't report. So it's a difficult situation right
System's
now.
breaking down because
And-
it's not designed to handle this
Right.
scenario.
And so to add to all of that, and we have a lot of pressures with no work, everything's shut down, you can't get out, can't see your friends, can't see your loved ones. We also looked at and weren't really sure what's going to happen with people that have addictions. Are they going to be better off because maybe they're going to be with their family? Are they going to be worse off because of what's going on? Now we find that they can't get to their traditional treatment or their help. Just like homicides, we can't do our normal homicide interventions like we used to
Right.
because you can't go out and interact, can't do those walks. So we are probably on schedule to probably wind up this year with around 240 heroin opioid overdose deaths compared to 120 last year.
You are confirming what you kind of hear a little bit of what the media talks about, the consequences of this lockdown.
Yep.
The
Been-
pandemic
They've been
is
significant.
just extraordinary.
And it's going to obviously be a very good study. Everyone's comparing notes right now. So we're not alone, and we're trying to look at what other cities our size are doing. We're also seeing the people that are homeless, that are panhandling. You know, you're seeing those issues as well. We're also seeing mental health just kind of explode.
And the Bridge Center is not
The
open.
Bridge Center is close to being open, glad to report. And so hopefully that's going to really help us in the long term. But
That's 5,000 folks a year.
a year that we hope that we're going to be able to serve at the Bridge Center. So we're looking for a quick start fairly soon, and we hope that that's going to help us a
Are the
lot.
feds or the state going to give y'all resources to try and address this?
So there are some monies that are coming out for the opioid addiction. The question is how that money's going to be spent.
Who decides?
Who's going to get it? Good question. I think it's going to probably be between those that sued. So the Attorney General sued on behalf of some entities, the state, and then the mayors of different locations sued. But there's only going to be one pot of money per state. The problem with that is you're going to see a big number that pharma has sent in the settlement. The problem is that money comes in drips and drabs over 15 years. So, and I predict that probably those big companies that caused a lot of the problem may develop some drug to try to help someone get out of the problem that they caused, and maybe they'll make more money from
the remedy
that.
for it.
I don't know if that will happen, but it just seems to be going down that course. So
So you don't feel like the punishment was even close to what
Well,
the industry deserves?
I'm not sure that the money is there. I mean, they're going bankrupt. Excuse me. So I don't know what kind of money they have. I know we're well represented. In fact, one of the Baton Rouge lawyers is Mr. LeBlanc, is one of the lawyers that are in the middle of that settlement. So I think we're well represented, and we'll get what money we're able to get.
We'll continue this on the next segment. This is Locke Meredith with Legal Lines. Our very special guest, the District Attorney of East Baton Rouge Parish, Hillar Moore. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Trust is important when hiring an injury law firm. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan Associates, thousands have trusted us and gotten the results they deserved. Visit us at LockeMeredith.com. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith. I have Hillar on. He is the district attorney for East Baton Rouge Parish, doing his 12th year. He's got a lot of experience and a lot of history at this. Let's dive back in.
Yep.
What was our capacity? How are the systems doing to deal with crime and all the problems of society that y'all get dumped in your laps? How are we dealing with them prior to the pandemic?
Well, we were packed and just overwhelmed with
every time we talk, you're
numbers.
undermanned, you're under-resourced, so everything's at capacity.
So, it's not only just the district attorney, it's the judges,
Well,
it's the public defender,
Yes.
it's a lack of resources to send people to divert
It's
people
like society doesn't give you guys the money you need. I remember us talking, you said, Locke, if people knew what actually happens out there, they wouldn't go outside.
Yeah, so we're all under capacity. So we all need to take a look at where we spend our money, how we spend our money, what's the bang you get for the buck. So we really need to look at that. And I'm not saying that there's a big money tree that the mayor or governor can give us and just say, here's all the money, because everyone competes for that limited money. And now with the pandemic, things are even more difficult money-wise. But so we were over capacity. We had probably 100 or so murders to try. We're probably around 130 murders that need to be tried. When you have a staff of 50-something lawyers, that's a tough case.
And when you're trying 130 murders, I assume that means these are the worst of the worst, right?
These are cases that you have to try because it's life imprisonment potentially. Right. And now you add a year to that where we're at 100 murders right now. There's not an arrest on every one of those murders, but there is. Then add to that rape, sex offenses, domestic violence, and with 50-something lawyers, you spread those thousands of cases out, it's difficult to do. So yeah, the jail is full, the prison population is full. We did do a 72-hour rapid expedited billing, and it really worked out well, but it strained the system. We weren't funded for it like we thought we were going to eventually be funded. They have a dedicated judge, put a lot of pressure on everyone in the system. There was no dedicated judge. We did not have one. We asked for a grant for a dedicated judge, dedicated prosecutor, and defense lawyer that would see people immediately as they came into jail and get them moved in and out. When we did that, we did find a jail prison population reduction, but the strain on the system was great. So we got away from that with hopes that we can get back to it again if we're well funded. And I think we will get there through some federal grants because of the success we saw. So that took us through the end of the year. And then COVID started coming. Then we had the problems that everyone is well aware of now. And
so how did that affect the process?
So we had to work remotely. And so now you're in court every day working from 9 in the morning till 5 in the evening, just churning through cases and getting them going. Then you have to go back and prepare for a potential trial. We average around 40 trials a year. This year we're at 4 or 5 jury trials. You can't get jurors to come because it's not safe. They have to sit close to each other. You pass evidence around. We finally got grand jurors back, and I want to take my hats off to these grand jurors and the jurors that are serving right now in our regular juries. They came and they're doing their work because we only have certain time limits to indict people. Otherwise, they walk. And they came back and have done their job. And hats off to them. Hats off to the jurors that come and sacrifice themselves for us because we need jurors. That's the last line of defense for all of us, and they make the judgment for us. But a really big fear, our problem is the parish prison. So now you have a community of people who are locked in, very close to each other. You have people that are coming in and out of the jail. And I want another shout out to the sheriff, the warden, and the warden's staff at the parish prison. They've had relatively few cases of COVID in that prison. They've done an outstanding job. That's a model for the nation. But what we wanted to do to help them is that the district attorney, the public defender, met every morning once shutdown came, and we looked at who was arrested the night before. And we cut down the number of people who were going to jail. Only violent offenders, generally, with some exception, went to jail. Some people just got summonses and didn't go to jail, so prison population started to go down.
We're at 50%?
It was a big number. Maybe not 50, but good number. But we also met every morning to see who's left in jail. Is there a case that we can resolve? Is there a case that we can let someone out on a bond that you normally would not let?
How would y'all decide that?
We categorize them by the level of what's the charge, what's your history, what's your background, and then we worked every morning.
So it's not strictly non-violent or violent?
Well, we started with age population.
Okay.
Then we started violent, non-violent, what's being held. We went through it for weeks and weeks and weeks. And we finally narrowed it down. Judges surely obviously helped and participated. We got some people expedited. We got them on Zoom court and took pleas remotely.
Did just criminal judges work in this?
Absolutely.
Or was it, okay.
Criminal judges worked in this. And
No
so,
civil judges?
not in this part of it. So everyone really worked well, and you saw the number of the prison population decline. They were able to shut down some wings, and I think that kept the prison population much safer than others around the country. Because there's been some horror stories about COVID in prisons.
So you kept new people from going in to the extent you could. They were still subject to penalty or
Down the road.
trying down the road, so they weren't let free or anything,
Correct.
so to speak.
So we were booking around 12 to 18 per day, night, compared to maybe 40 or 50.
Wow.
So the number got too different.
1/3.
So that's it's a
Yeah.
big number. Now, you asked earlier whether in the break when we talked about are we going to keep any of those procedures. That's one that we're looking at. Is there a way that we can divert folks from not being arrested or booked, but still handle their case without them having to go to prison? And that's something that we're looking at to hopefully continue so we can keep the prison population down and try to get services to those that are nonviolent
Because we've been
offenders.
talking about that for years.
Long
I
time.
mean, that's drug court and the whole bit of,
Correct.
Putting people in jail wasn't fixing them and it wasn't solving the problem.
Right.
And it costs a freaking fortune.
It's a matter of getting them services.
Right.
And what we want to do is keep the violent offenders in jail.
And don't make
And-
anybody safe either.
And it's unfortunate that a lot of the people that we put in jail that are out on multiple bonds have walking money in their pocket and they're able to get out of jail very quickly. So we need to do a better job of trying to identify who are really violent, repeat offenders, repeat drug sellers of heroin are, so they just can't pay their way out of bond, which is another argument against cash bail bonds. So that's a lot of things like that that we're looking at. My office also put together a paper, and we discussed it nationwide with other DAs and other agencies.
Interesting.
It's the new normal, and the new normal for Baton Rouge. We went through step by step how we did things, how we met with the public defender, how we got the prison population reduced. We've had some national coverage by the ABA, all the DAs associations, and some other publications that really gave
Yeah, I heard somebody
Baton
say
Rouge
y'all
a
need to
shout
be a
out.
model.
We did a very good job, again, collaborating with everyone together, only way we could do it. Trying to keep our office safe, our office personnel safe, keep them separated, trying to follow the guidelines from Dr. Kathy O'Neill at the Lake, Dr. Goodby with the EMS, working remotely as much as you
And
can.
that was a question I have. Are y'all back to face-to-face
We are
involvement now?
back to full-time face-to-face involvement, but potentially now because of Halloween and because of Thanksgiving and Christmas, we may try to now go back to a little more scaled-back version for the protection of our own people. And I think that after the beginning of the year, we can go back to normal. And normally around this time, as you know, there's not a lot of jury trials.
Right.
So this may be the time for the safety of our people to try to step back a little
I
bit.
couldn't hear what you said.
And you're already kind of set up. So we'll continue this on the next segment. It's Locke Meredith Legal Lines, my very special guest, Hillar Moore, District Attorney, East Baton Rouge Parish. We'll be right back.
I'm lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Trust is important when hiring an injury law firm. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan Associates, thousands have trusted us and gotten the results they deserved. Visit us at LockeMeredith.com. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith, talking about some pretty tough stuff, the pandemic and crime. We have Hillar Moore, the District Attorney of East Baton Rouge Parish. Let's dive back in. So we've kind of talked about the great difficulty. I mean, we were already struggling prior to the pandemic, but now it's just exacerbated everything. Y'all have adapted, but it looks like we got some flaring going up all over the nation. You anticipate having to kind of scale back, but at least we're prepared with the previous experiences. Tell me what other good stuff you see on the horizon. None of that stuff real makes you smile very much.
No, it sounds all bad, but I want people to know that although you may not see us or didn't see us in court, all of these folks that work for you, the public, at the district attorney's office, 160 people, they're working their tails off all day. They care, and they may be at home working, taking care of their children, but they are actively working. And there's a lot of programs, a lot of good stuff that's going on. We talked about domestic violence and maybe not about human trafficking, but that's kind of in there with it.
You do an annual domestic violence disclosure report.
We unfortunately have a bad report to report at the beginning of the year, but we really don't have a lot of services at this point to give to those. But because of the justice reform, we're able to receive a grant, and we have started what's called a Family Justice Center.
Okay.
There are family justice centers around the country, not a lot of them, but it turns out that one of the biggest ones is run by a lady out of from Slidell, Louisiana, and I think Minnesota. She came down here, talked to us about how to start one. We just opened the doors about 2 weeks ago. So,
and what does it do?
It's a one-stop shop for people that are victims of domestic violence and human trafficking, or children who are subject to some type of violence. So you get to come there as a victim.
Victims.
Yep. So instead of moving you all around the city to go see this and that, we have everyone at one stop, one spot. So you can come to and just go door to door. You're met by a counselor. The counselor takes care of all your needs. If you need a safety plan, the police and the sheriff are there. The district attorney's there to talk about your case. What kind of plan can we put in place? Doctors, healthcare, hospitals.
So it is literally the holistic approach to it.
Whole approach, and we're just adding more people as we come. The Irish Domestic Violence Center is a big part of that. They're there as well.
How's it financed?
Through the grant, through the criminal justice reform money. It's money over 10 years for $750,000 a year. And unfortunately, that's a big number, but it doesn't pay for the whole thing because of the people that you have to have there. So we're now going to be actively trying to fundraise to help that.
Good.
We have some naming opportunities of rooms.
Well, please let me know. I'll make sure we have it on our signs.
We will do that. And they're trying to find places to put women up, particularly on a Friday evening at 4 o'clock, where the bad guy just went to jail. They can't go back home. They're afraid, or the guy's on a run. Find a safe spot for us to put them. So we're trying to look for avenues like that right now. We have limited space for that.
Will the Dream Center be able to help in that regard? Or
probably not in that. The Bridge Center would not be able to help in that regard.
Bridge Center.
Because it's too dangerous at that point to do something like that. But we're really happy for the Family Justice Center. It's going to be fully staffed here shortly. And now we just need to educate the public like we would for the Bridge Center, is that, hey, this is open, come. What we also going to open up is called the Stop the Loss program. And just like the prior Brave and now the Truce model, where
and that was focusing on zip codes.
Zip codes of guys who are actual killers.
Right.
There's most at risk to kill or be killed. The Stop the Loss program looks at those that are most likely to kill or injure badly in domestic violence situations.
Interesting.
And we rate them from A to D. If you rate it as a level 8 offender, that means you've either killed or your next event will kill someone. And if you're arrested on charges, we do not negotiate, do not play, and you're going to go to trial and face the highest charges you can. B, C, and D, different levels. We want to work with them, so let them know what they did is wrong, and let's not reoffend. So we work not only with the victim at the Justice Center, but in Stop the Loss, try to identify that person and let him know we want this victim out of the picture. It's us that are coming after you because you've done this, and here are the rules. So what we hope to is having policemen and sheriff's deputies and others hand out cards or documentation to the victim to let them know you can go to the Family Justice Center tomorrow. Someone's there to help you tomorrow. And for that defendant,
we're going to protect you from that person.
And protect you. And this defendant, this is who you are, and I'm giving you the message, not your victim, because we see retaliation often. So we're just open and we're ready to roll on it.
So the A through D, I assume the restrictions on you, if you're not an A, are increased with the higher level you are designated.
Correct. And we have a leveling process that the sheriff and the police go through. They look at all their history and their violence and the level of violence, and that's how you kind of rate it. We work this program through John Jay School of Criminal Justice and the National Network for Safe Communities out of New York. And we're one of their model sites to do this. And we're looking for a funding chance with that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, for $75,000 where
You
anyone
always seem
that,
to be at the tip of this spear.
so you have to continue doing this work. And it's changing and evolves. We weekly meet with people from other cities to see how they're doing, what works, what doesn't work. So we're excited. We're really excited about that right
So
now.
that's basically Brave, but now it's targeted at domestic
Correct.
abuse.
And Brave is now
human
Truce.
trafficking.
So Brave is now Truce. So
Right.
Truce. Truce is now, Brave is now Truce. Brand new funding and source of that.
Is it
And
federal and state?
It's now mainly private money that we're
Really?
working on. And
Okay.
and now the mayor has announced that she's given us some money that we're going to apply for
Fantastic.
through the city council. And that's going to hopefully get us through another year of funding through the national network.
Because that's real important.
It is very important, and the city police has really stepped up, as has the sheriff, and so we're doing a lot of really good things. Normally with that Truce, we have call-ins where you call people in to give them the message. We can't during COVID. We haven't been able to do that in a long time.
Yeah.
So now we do individualized or customized notices where if we understand someone is threatening to kill another, generally there's a group members,
Right.
we try to see that person and that potential victim.
So you still have a face-to-face with
Has have
the
a face-to-face with those
who's
people.
the instigator, I guess.
So right now, we're fortunate to have Tyron Matthew, who we met by visiting the prison at Hunt Correctional. Tyron's dad serving life for murder out of New Orleans, then found out that his son was Tyron. He came to speak to one of our call-ins, the dad, and introduced us to Tyron. Tyron now is part of Truce, and Tyron has what's called the shift. He said, as you know, Tyron had issues when he was at LSU, wasn't able to finish here, was going on to do great things. He's a great husband, great dad. He's doing all kind of wonderful things now, and we didn't have that same relationship years ago. But he said he had a shift, had a change in his mind. So he now holds the shift by Zoom with these kids who are potential at-risk killers or victims. We also now have him in some prison facilities where youngsters can listen to him talk about himself, his life, how he's changed.
He's a model.
He's a model to these kids, and it's been wonderful to see. ESPN magazine featured him on that, so things are going well. We're also working right now with Breck to see if we can have one of the gyms that are not occupied to take it over somewhat as a Truce house. Can we get these group members to come in and get them
Different
services
activities.
there?
Do they
different
create
activities?
relationships in this, or is that not going to happen?
Not, we'd like to see it happen, but we have to take one step at a time. So we have to find a location. It has to be somewhat neutral because there are territories. So we have that going. We also have a gun crime intelligence center where we look at shell casings of bullets that are left
I
behind
was hearing about
and
this.
guns, high-tech stuff, a lot of dedicated folks. And it's not only DA employees, it's Baton Rouge Police Sheriff and U.S. Attorney. So it's doing
Thank
very
you
well.
very much for what y'all do. This is
Thank you.
Locke Meredith, the Legal Lines, Hillar Moore, District Attorney, Baton Rouge Parish. Thanks for being with us.